Listen here.
Isn't he Mexican?
Colombia.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
Anchor Baby.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home.
That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby.
You know, he's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You the blackest one in this room.
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border. And then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on America's soil. So he became the anchor baby. They don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Hello, I'm the American Anchor Baby, and this is my show. The only reason Derek Chauvin's appeal was rejected by the Supreme Court is because the Supreme Court has fear. You guys know about Derek Chauvin. The Supreme Court has fear, and that's the only reason his appeal was ignored. What's up, folks? Welcome to the show. I am the American Anchor Baby. Welcome to the show. I see y'all coming in there. I see you, Chris. Hearts and minds this. I took that out of the intro, we don't want anybody misunderstanding that, right? Hearts and minds this was how the intro used to start. But that's just a little too violent, maybe, huh? Welcome, folks. I see you over there on Rumble, rumble.com/American Anchor Baby if you want to watch it somewhere else. I'm also live on dlive.tv/Gorgonzola. I'm also on x.com, streaming on X. So that's pretty cool if you ever want to watch it there. On Elon Musk's platform, we'll be getting into a couple of things here. A couple of topics here and your calls. 888-775-3773. You want to jump on the air. Looking good, Bill? Nice. Oh, yeah, let me check the chat. No echoes, right? Solid. Welcome, folks, to the show. Like I said, the only reason Derek Chauvin's appeal was rejected was due to fear. March 8th, 2021. It's been a few years now. Chauvin was put on trial. Chauvin. Derek Chauvin. No joking. I'm being serious. Was put on trial for second-degree murder. Third-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter of George Floyd before a jury in Minnesota. Before a jury of his peers, he was convicted and has since served, 2.5 years of his 22 prison sentence, serving concurrently. Does that mean at the same time or one after the other? Same time, right? Concurrently with a 21-year federal sentence for depriving Floyd of his civil rights, they say. For not giving him medical attention. That was his civil rights, apparently. And although it seems like ages ago, it remains fresh in the minds of our politicians, our leaders, the media, and they make sure to remind the public. In fact, it was just last month that the White House celebrated what would have been George Floyd's 50th birthday. George Floyd, should he be alive? He should be celebrating his 50th birthday, reads this statement and release from President Biden, October 14th, 2023. He should have been alive. They make these claims. And the celebration of that birthday holds a little bit more than just a symbolic significance. Since the altar sacrifice of Derek Chauvin opened up the gates to a lower level of hell. I remember that day too. It was literally dark clouds over America. In fact, it was one of the first times I ever hosted a show in this chair. I believe I was filling in for Jesse Lee Peterson one of the earlier days. May have even been Sparkly Blouse Day. Was it Sparkle Blouse Day? It may have been Sparkly Blouse Day. Sparklegate. Blousegate. Shout out to those who know. If you've been watching, you know what you know. I remember that day there were dark clouds. And since then, since the sacrifice, America has changed. Defunding the police, firing of white people, open air hatred, like boiled frogs, we almost don't notice. But these are markers of a new country, a new people, a new ideology, a new religion in charge. You know, as the White House celebrated all this too, it was at this time that there was some amazing news coming out. Really news rehashing things that we already knew, but they hit the news cycle, in a way that hit the public in a different way. Now, many of you, conservatives, Republicans, etc., saw the conviction of murder and thought the same thing. This is ridiculous. If anything, manslaughter. But even second-degree murder, you know, the charge is involuntary, right? It's a murder due to complete disregard of human life is the definition of it. But murder nonetheless. Many saw that and saw the ridiculousness. I did too. Like Hake said on his show, like by any stretch of the imagination, it can't be called murder. And it was at this time, October, when the White House was celebrating this story out of Hennepin County, the attorney's office in Hennepin County came out. Tucker Carlson did a whole report on it and rehashed these details in a way that's necessary. What the story basically is this Amy Sweezy Tamburino basically had a lawsuit. This is from Revolver. Hennepin County prosecutor Amy Sweezy Tamburino. Her lawsuit claimed her career stalled out due to sex discrimination in the Hennepin prosecutor's office. She was being discriminated, she says. But according to Revolver, I'm reading it here, the evidence in her lawsuit overlaps the Floyd case. And in fact, reading between the lines, one can sense the real reason Tamburino is suing the county. Higher-ups sabotaged her career because she didn't play ball in the Floyd case. Playing ball. There were no medical indications of asphyxia or strangulation, reads the Hennepin County report. And if you go into it, and Tucker Carlson and the whole report when that happened, the details are amazing. You have multiple Hennepin County employees there expressing the immense pressure coming down on them from their own higher-ups and the public to go forth with a conviction that they knew was wrong. Incredible stuff, really. But what's really amazing to me was in this report here, it's the rehashing of the details with the jury. It's really amazing here. In fact, I remember some of this reporting on the Hake Report, if I remember. TheHakeReport.com. Definitely check them out. I'm sure you know. If you don't, I am on the Jesse Lee Peterson Network. I'm on the network. Jesse Lee Peterson's network. Check out the shows. But so where is the failure here? When we saw a man convicted wrongly. Murder. Remember, they said murder. And the details were there in the case, presented to the jury. A jury that should have seen the truth when the evidence is before them. Because the jury has a responsibility here. The judges, the media, honestly, we have hashed over those details over these past few years. The conspiratorial media looking into the eyes of Derek Chauvin. Literally, articles came out saying, the look. You remember this? The look in Derek Chauvin's eyes. Here it is, CNN. The look in Derek Chauvin's eyes was something worse than hate. You remember this? The look in his eyes, they said. So we've hashed this all out over the past few years. The evil line media, politicians, really, not caring about blacks, not caring about George Floyd or anything, but just using them as sacrificial pawns for their own agenda, their own anti-white agenda, their own socialist, whatever, enriching of self agenda. And so again, the questions, where's the failure here? They say second degree, but the media and the state and the jurors saw a murder. And you would think, like I said, the facts of the case would prove it. Because Chauvin had a jury of his peers. Where does the responsibility lie? You know, jurors in this country are charged with the responsibility of deciding whether, using the facts of the case, whether, the judge allows which facts you can talk about, etc. But ultimately, the jury decides whether a person is guilty or not. And the judge has no say about that. Whether they're guilty of the offense they're being charged with specifically. And the offense was murder. And the state, rehashing the details here, if you don't remember, the state brought in experts and testified that asphyxiation killed George Floyd, etc. But that flew in the face of the medical examiner's autopsy, which plainly stated that that was not the case. The jury was presented with all the claims that the Minneapolis police they shouldn't have any knee on the necks. That's not an allowed thing. You're not allowed to do that, etc. That same jury, very same jury, was literally shown a picture, an image that was shown by Derek Chauvin's defense. A literal picture of the training the Minneapolis officers underwent. Literally in the position Derek Chauvin had George Floyd. They were trained to do this. Minneapolis police tried to cover their A, but the jury should have seen it. Well, here's literally training materials. There's literally training materials saying the opposite, but no. The jury failings continue when the jurors themselves were interviewed, post-trial interviews. And amazing quotes here showing that really facts of the case and justice were the last thing on their mind. This is from CNN. And in the jury room, Belton Hardiman said, she recalled testimony about a Minneapolis police motto, in our custody, in our care, or words to that effect. George Floyd was in their custody, this juror said, but he was never in their care. And that, for me, it just hit hard. I don't feel like they ever cared about him. Lady, that has nothing to do with this. But of course, reality, facts, justice, out the window. It's about emotion and how you feel. And the thing is these jurors identify with this George Floyd person. They totally identified with him. It could have been me, says one of these jurors. This same juror had attended a 2020 Black Lives Matter rally wearing a "Get Your Knee Off Our Necks" shirt. These were the jury. These were his peers, apparently. The jury of his peers. His peers who identified with a man who essentially put himself in that situation. It could have been me, they said. And so the update really is that the U.S. Supreme Court rejected Chauvin's appeal in the George Floyd murder. Writes this headline reads from Reuters. The George Floyd murder, even with the appeal, even on the update, Chauvin can't catch a break, and they still call him a murder. A murder. The U.S. Supreme Court on Monday declined to hear an appeal by former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin of his conviction for the murder of George Floyd during a 2020 arrest, which sparked, right here, widespread protests against police brutality and racism. All lies, really, but the thing that's true there is that the anger is real. The anger is real, and people are out there destroying the country. And it's that fear and that sole reason, that sole terroristic reason, that this Supreme Court is not essentially hearing out the case. Will anyone hear him out? Absolutely ridiculous. And so I wanted to just rehash those amazing details of the jury to make the point that your peers have become immoral degenerates. You know, there used to be rules on who could be in a jury, who could be your peer. Just like voting, it used to be you had to own land. At least that was one of the requirements. A couple of others, you had to earn a certain amount of money. This is white supremacy, right? It was white supremacy. But no, it made a lot of sense. Someone who was self-made, their own land, can't just easily be bribed. Unqualified people on juries. Yes, you used to be unqualified to be on a jury, unqualified to vote, unqualified to be essentially a custodian of this world, of this society, of this nation, and the society created here, right? English law required that a juror possess land with an income of at least 10 pounds per year. This is like 18th century stuff. So this goes way back. Even in England, even in the societies that begat this one, this was a known thing. Way before civil rights and, unfettered immigration. It just used to be different. No person shall be tried for any crime whereby he may incur loss of life or any infamous punishment without indictment by a grand jury, nor be convicted by the unanimous verdict of good and lawful men, freeholders of the vicinage or district where the trial shall be had. Times of more distinguished people, in a sense, maybe. But the people today, your jury, your peers, are immoral. They identify with emotion. They identify with a criminal who brought this mess upon himself. Juror number 44, white woman, 50s. An executive at a nonprofit healthcare advocacy group. The juror said she discussed white privilege. She's quoted as saying, "But my white son, if he gets pulled over, doesn't have to have fear." Nothing to do with the facts of the case. White woman, juror number 44. Juror number 55. A single mother of two who rides motorcycles in her spare time. She mentioned seeing officers confront unarmed white teenagers last summer, calling it harassment. Juror number 27, black man, 30s, an immigrant. This is your peers, folks. This is your peers. Juror number 27, an immigrant who came to the United States more than a decade ago. He once lived near where George Floyd was killed. The man said a friend showed him the video. He said it could have been me. So what? Are you out there committing crimes, acting crazy with the cops? Is that what you're trying to tell me? That's who our peers are? They're a bunch of George Floyds acting crazy, squirrely with the cops. Don't move. Wait, officer. Takes out a gun. It's the savage world returning. In fact, this is an old, very old thing. They say we live in a progressive time. A time where there are no wars. The world, there's supposed to be no wars. What happened? It was a war to end all wars. We're living in the new world order where it's liberalism and you can't hate. Hating is bad, and all nations are sovereign and you can't invade. It's actually the savage world. We're returning to a savage world, a world that's been around since the beginning. And man, through the inspiration of God, was able to carve out pockets of civility throughout the thousands of years of this planet. Or planet, whatever you want to say. Through the inspiration of God, they were able to carve out pockets of civility. It wasn't even always called Christian, but it was through the work of God. And this savage world is returning, okay? You may have heard of this a little bit. Jonathan Lewis, Las Vegas. 8 students charged with murder. Here's another murder charge. In this case, it truly is. There's no way around. This is at least what they charged Derek Chauvin with. This is at least that second degree murder. Because what is the definition here? A complete lack of care of human life. 8 students charged with murder. And you may have seen video. I'm not going to get into the video and all that, but basically this 17-year-old white kid was beaten to death. 8 teenagers charged with murder after the fatal beating of a fellow student who agreed to a fight with the group. Now, I've been reading about this story. I know Daily Mail says that Jonathan Lewis, 17 years old, agreed to fight with a group. But when you look into the story, it's more likely that Jonathan Lewis, 17 years old, agreed to fight with an individual. This individual who had stolen things from Jonathan Lewis's friends, apparently. A vape and AirPods or something like that. They say wireless headphones. We know the Zoomers have the AirPods. One AirPod in with their vape, and they stole it, apparently from a friend. Jonathan Lewis was ready to fight. He said, let's go. What are we doing this? When and where, he says. He said, when and where. And I assume they agreed, like this story says, where to fight. Once this fight broke out, though, he was descended upon by a mob of 10. And basically, he succumbed to his injuries. 17 years old, beaten by this group. You see these baby-faced killers, as the media is calling them, not holding back. Baby-faced killers, all curly-haired and black and Hispanic. It's just the facts, okay? Trying to find you the baby-faced killers a headline here, but they're going through their things, right? And their families are coming out saying, but they were the nicest ever. I don't know. This is just horrible. This is just horrible, they say. I mean, I'd love to get one of those. I'd love to get some of these parents on trial, huh? Aren't they partly responsible for Jonathan's death? They were quick to remember. It was this school shooter. I forget his name. It had been Nicholas Cruz. One of these shooters, their parents, remember? Their parents got in trouble because the kid, the minor, was able to get his hands on a gun easily. I forget the details of the case. You remember? They went after the parents. In fact, I think successfully convicted them. I may be wrong about this. Let's get the parents of these 8 to 10 teens that murdered this Jonathan Lewis. Now, the details are gruesome, and we don't need to get into it, but I bring up this story simply to say this. Those teens that beat Jonathan Lewis to death are as savage as the jurors in the Derek Chauvin case. As savage as your neighbor, and as savage as you if you're a person who judges and hates. Like vultures ripping at a carcass. They saw Derek Chauvin. They saw this 17-year-old, and they said, and they saw what they saw. They saw a murderer. They saw this or that. And I know these 8 probably didn't mean to kill Jonathan Lewis. I could say that. They probably didn't mean to kill him. But this really is that case they try to put on Derek Chauvin. Derek Chauvin is at least an accident. No, but they saw racism in his eyes. Crazy. This was no accident. They beat that kid to death. They beat that teenager to death. And it was out of anger. And I know they probably didn't mean to. But this is the consequences, the wages of anger that's been festering in the country, in the homes for years. And you get these kids and they're watching videos. They see the fight videos. They're following all the fight video content, the violence. And they're like, yeah, they beat him. They're like, yeah, he'll learn. And then now he's dead. I'm sure they didn't mean to. But just like they said for Chauvin, or like they tried to claim about Chauvin, that he had just an excessive, just complete disregard for human life, here is that very same situation. And those teens are as savage as those jurors, just as savage. Because there is a return to the old, where might makes right, if you will. Because there's a decent society, at least the one I grew up in somewhat. It wasn't just might makes right. It's supposed to be this equal society, they said. It's supposed to be equal. But that's why people are going Muslim. You're seeing some of these young people turn Muslim because they've overreacted to the weakness of Christians and whites in this country. And they think, well, we must return to the old, to the barbaric, to the savage, so that we can control. That's what the Muslims did with women. They saw the evil nature of Satan. I think they kind of overreacted. Not very loving. So it's a return to the old where might makes right. And that's why we're seeing stuff like Andrew Tate. Now, I've talked about Andrew Tate before. I don't have a particular problem with him, but he's not the most moral, upstanding person, right? He's not a Christian. He's a Muslim. And he may be... The thing about Andrew Tate, my theory here is that the reason he's had such an effect, especially on young people, is because he either is or is the prototype of the coming return of the warlord. The warlord is returning. The warlord, the one who has accumulated most resources, the one who has accumulated most favor and fear over his peers, the one who has subdued the woman through fear and through might, subduing those around him, and that's the very same way, through violence. Yeah, Andrew Tate's methodology is violent, if you think about it. It may not always be physically violent, but the way he subdues women is through violence, a waging of war in their minds and hearts. And so the return of the archetype of the warlord is appearing, and we're seeing him. And Andrew Tate, in my opinion, is kind of the avatar of that sort of, until the real warlords come, I guess. And you see what I'm saying here? It's a return to this old savagery. Do you guys know what grab hags are? The grab hags. In China, here's something you might not know. In China, there is a large swath of the population that remains uneducated, illiterate, and more importantly than anything else, immoral. Completely immoral. And that's not me saying this. This is the Chinese government saying this, and the Chinese people. The CCP and the Chinese both have a term for the people I'm talking about. Now, I may be pronouncing this wrong, and I may be using the terminology incorrectly. I'm pretty sure I am, though, using it correctly. They call him Damas, or the He Mai. I believe one of those words is loosely translated to aunt or auntie, but it is a pejorative. And Chinese people and the Chinese government use this term to describe this large swath of the population that, like I said, remains illiterate and immoral. I just find that interesting that a government, that is a large enough thing for it to pose a political challenge. What you have to understand is that they pose such a significant problem in China that they are a political challenge for the government, that they have terms for and employ different methods to curb their behavior. Some of them online, they call them grab hags. And I'm describing the immorality of this Chinese populace that will flout rules. They will, if something's free, they take it, they steal, they lie, and cheat. And they, like I said, pose such a significant problem, the government tries to curb their behavior. Average Chinese people look down on them. And I only know this through research online from different people, expats who have lived over there. You may know some of them, 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎 on YouTube, 𝒐𝒐𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔 on YouTube, and through other research. And from other Chinese people themselves, they talk about this immoral population, the grab hags. I want to show you some videos here because it's so interesting to see immorality on display. Immorality. The same immorality you can see here. Draw your parallels while I'm showing you these videos. But this is the savage world. The grab hags. Let's see if we can jump around some of these. I'm watching some of the China Fact Chasers videos. It's a podcast put out by these two individuals I told you about. 𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔 and 𝒐𝒐𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔, both expats of their countries. 𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔, an American who lived in China for many years, married a Chinese woman. 𝒐𝒐𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔, a South African expat, lived in China many years, married a Chinese woman. They have now since left to have a big YouTube channel. And they talk about a lot of things they learned culturally over there. Let me show you. This one's more silly. This one's a little bit sillier, but it gets progressively worse. The savage world. Look, I'm telling you, Christianity, morality. You might think it doesn't matter.
No, you don't say aunt. Oh yeah, because you say aunt.
No, but it's only it's got to. It's.
I mean, I think there's a grab hags we call them.
Which we're gonna jump around this video. You're gonna bear with me, but we're watching YouTube right now. But trust me, it's interesting.
Opportunists, right? Dama, they're like dama or like a heiai.
Yeah.
They also call like they're basically like these vile creatures that will take anything.
I disavow that.
If they see an opportunity to take something,
he says vile creatures. They're humans, right?
Vile creatures that will take anything they can. If they see an opportunity to take something for free, they do. You get them here in the States as well. They'll line up in those lines where they give handouts for homeless people and stuff. And they'll be from a rich family. They'll go stand in the line just to take the free stuff, you know?
They're like the Chinese government thinks they make them lose face. Chinese people hate them too because they make them lose face. And we get it. If you live in China for like 10 years,
you'll understand.
You know the IE culture.
Yes, you understand. I mean, do you remember in China,
look at them grab it. Look, we don't need to listen to. Look at them grab and just
like an open.
They're at a market and they're fighting over a piece of pork here. Like, it's incredible. I mean, I want to show you some more footage here. I find this incredible. Look at these, the corn raiders, and like I said, the government. These people are significant. They're a significant political challenge. Look at this. Look at this. These are just Chinese nationals arriving on private farms. And just stealing. Grabbing. Just grab what you can. Go, 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 go. Look at them. It's not just a few either. Look how many there are. Look at holy. It's like Black Friday. It's like Black Friday over here. Except it's like incredible. Incredible. Look, I got more for you. This one, these are Chinese tourists in other countries. These people go to other countries. They're in Vietnam here at a hotel. And this hotel put out like a plate of free food. You can't have nice things with immoral people. Look at this. Look at this. Animals. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Manja, manja. What the heck? And it's a feedback loop, right? It's like a feedback loop. Because you get the ones who grab, and then the ones who are left behind, they're like, if we don't start grabbing, we're gonna be left out. And so it's a feedback loop. It's a feedback loop, and there's no Jesus around to stop it. I got this one for you. This one's in America. Chinese grab hags in America. They'll get in line. They'll get in the welfare lines. They'll get into the food lines and the pantry free food lines. They'll even get into the lines multiple times. Maybe protected by their lack of diversity in the way they look. But to some people, I grew up around Asians, so I could tell Koreans and Vietnamese people apart sometimes. I know it's the effects of globalism, but the grab hags, the immoral people, the savage, immoral people, I know they don't look savage. They're not out being violent, but this is the same savagery. Not putting your shopping cart back. Not putting the stuff in the overhead compartment been at an airport in your planes for the person behind you not caring for that? Savage. You're a savage. You're an absolute savage. And they're in America too, so they bring the savagery with them. It's all about that immorality. It's the heart. It's the heart. Incredible stuff here. And these are your jurors. These are your peers. They even had an immigrant juror, as I told you earlier. And this is that return to that old world. You guys see what I'm talking about here? Savagery. Your peers are savage. And then you... Mexicans at the pantry in an Escalade. Yeah. Yep. I'm reading chat now, folks. Just say hi to you now. Haven't really said hi to you at all. Paisano, what's up, Steve Strock? Frederick, what's up, Kale? Got your six. Love and sunshine, Mr. Dave. Carlota, Alex Watts, and everybody else. It's a mess, huh? You guys following, though? Maybe CCP authoritarianism is justified, says Carver. Can you understand the CCP government a little bit here? It's like, dang, what are we going to do? I mean, they kind of brought it on themselves, though, because they totally destroyed everything that meant to be Chinese. I mean, China, as we know it, is like not real. They're like a modern, new Asiatic communist religion, right? I think that's my understanding, because I heard the original Chinese is actually in Taiwan, and the Taiwanese and all that. That's the original Chinese, and the nationalists and whatever their religion was and whatever their beliefs was. All that was basically bulldozed by the Chinese communists. So they really brought it about themselves. Here they are trying to inject their own religion, but I don't know. They're dealing with this political reality of immorality. Communism makes corrupt, cheating societies. That's why Armenians like that too. Exactly. You following? It's crazy stuff, folks. So we really got to watch ourselves. It's that easy to be immoral. In a generation. It just takes a generation. It's that easy. We got to watch ourselves and watch our families here. And the border, because these grab hags are coming over. Stop the grab hags. Speaking of planes and grab hags and savages. Speaking of all that, did you guys see this? Hey, let's check in with the planes, huh? Why do we do this, huh? Speaking of all this mess, I see your calls coming in. Thank you. 888-775-3773 if you want to jump on the air and talk to me, the American Anchor Baby. And wow, spoiler alert, thank you for the Rumble rant over on rumble.com/American Anchor Baby. He says, the George Floyd incident was a hoax designed to mock Christ's sacrifice, stoke people for the 2020 election, and get another non-white federal holiday. Juneteenth, planned to replace the 4th of July. Dang! Spoiler alert, making sense. Yeah, it's a little bit more than symbolic. It was a sacrifice. Sacrificial altar. Amazing. And like I said, I do see your calls. Thank you for holding. I will get to you here. What's going on with the planes? Hey, let's check in with the aviation industry, shall we? What the?
When you buy 10 tickets on Vivid Seats, you get the...
What did we just see? Where airline staff? Okay, this was a mistake. We just checked in on the airline industry. It's not going so well. Moment, unhinged woman shrieks, curses, and convulses on Frontier flight before climbing over seats. In a frenzy, afterwards, a Christian passenger urges passengers to pray before erupting into a hymn. What chaos, what hell befell this Frontier Airlines flight? I have more footage for you here. Let's check in with the airlines, how they're doing, okay? Is there an exorcist on board? And the plane's in the air. The plane is in the air, I believe. That I meant for back there is not real. All these people getting involved. Look at her. She's like climbing over the seats all exorcist style. That's all I'm hearing. She's the exorcist right now. She's like a demon. Her head is about to spin 360. Look at that specimen of a flight attendant. I don't know if that's a male or a female. What the heck is that? Is that RuPaul? I think we got RuPaul on board. That might be RuPaul. RuPaul, get her under control. Oh, she grabbed that guy. She just swung on him. Somebody take her down. In the face. Pow. Right in the kisser. Knock her out for the greater good.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need everyone, please take your seats. Now, please.
She says over the PA like that's going to help. Miss, take your seat now.
Only people that should be up are the people that are...
Oh, she's talking about all the other people who got involved. Okay. And now incoming is this Christian lady who's about to preach.
There's a real devil that wants to kill each and every one of y'all. And
amen.
Your family members. That's not her. She's possessed.
That's not her.
And I'm sorry to say it like that, but I'm telling you right now, Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life.
Amen.
And nobody is going to come to the God, the Father, without Jesus Christ.
Let's go.
I'm telling you right now, the spirit of peace is the only thing y'all need. To trust Him in the name of Jesus.
Okay, in the name of Jesus, amen, girl. She's like, the spirit of peace is all you need. I mean, do you have the spirit of peace? I'm a little confused.
I command the spirit of peace.
Wait, that's the spirit of peace upon you? I don't know if I want the spirit of peace anymore.
As anybody knows, who doesn't have a relationship with Jesus Christ?
She's going down the aisle asking people if they've got she's cute. Who doesn't have a relationship with our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ?
Everybody says.
Preach, preacher.
I don't care. I'm only telling y'all this because all hell's about to break loose and y'all getting the evidence of it. If y'all don't have a relationship with Jesus Christ, I suggest you find one.
Stop.
The power of Christ compels you.
Hell, you want to get to your destination.
Like, you should just be allowed to knock someone out like that, especially when you're in the air. Like, that's just such a danger. That's just crazy. So, anyways, that's the update on the airlines. I guess not doing so hot. People are crazy. The jurors are crazy. We need the real thing more than ever. I got Frederick out of Los Angeles, California. Sir, thank you for your call. You're on the air.
How's it going? Sound like they needed that Thorazine shot.
Thorazine. Now, I don't know what that is, but
yeah.
that sounds, anything with an INE at the end sounds like something you give to a crazy person.
Yeah, that's what you put them when they out of control like that. When they come in, they're like, ah.
Anything barbitual. Barbiturate.
Crazy. What's up with that spirit? You see the spirit?
Say again?
Do you see that spirit?
What spirit?
Why do they thump so hard? Them thumpers.
Let me turn you up a little bit here, Frederick. You're talking about Spirit Airlines? That was Frontier.
No,
that was
them
a Frontier.
spirits and them Christians, the spirits that they be trying to convert people so hard.
Oh, you talk about the lady?
Yeah. I wanted to call about them jurors at first, but yeah, that lady is who I was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Like
you seeing the spirit of a Christian wanting to convert?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think about that lady?
Hey, I mean, to each his own. People do different things, but I don't think you should approach your like they do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was a little silly to me. I gotta agree. It was a little silly to me. I mean, I don't think you're really doing anything here. You're not really.
I don't agree with
what's the good. What good is that doing?
Israelites do.
Say again.
The Hebrew Israelites do it too. I don't agree with that stuff.
It's a mess. It doesn't seem to work. I think we can agree on that, right? It doesn't change minds. It doesn't work. It just rubs people the wrong way. It makes you look crazy.
It just gets the argument started and feeds the ego.
Yeah, it makes you look crazy.
Jurors,
yeah, it makes you look crazy.
What about the jurors?
And the other Christians don't like it because it makes you lose face. It's kind of like the Chinese people. They don't like the damas because it makes them lose face.
That should make them lose faith. If anything makes them lose faith, they never had it to begin with. Anything is supposed to test your faith, and you're supposed to hold on to it. If that's your true faith. If you're just playing along, it's going to reveal itself in the long run. But, I mean, if you got faith in something and you believe that you're willing to die for it, and they know that, their cause is going to eventually play itself out on what they want. It's all about who's willing to die for the cause,
So you agree that everybody trying to convince someone of something is silly?
I mean, if you see it's not good and you try and convince them to stop, I don't think, if you can blatantly see the outcome is not good and there are people suffering because of the way the world's set up, and you can see that's not good and you want to continue it on, I think that's not good. To help the next person and to be spiritually connected to, humanity, taking care of humanity is the way I think it's supposed to go. And if it don't go that way, you're supposed to, veer towards that way. They got places like Las Vegas that they're allowed to be like that. If you want to do that type of stuff, go to Las Vegas. They
what do they allow in Las Vegas? I'm not aware of this.
Gambling, prostitution, sin. It's a lot goes on. What goes on, I shouldn't be talking about it. They say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Uh-oh.
Now you got me snitching. I don't know. Vegas probably come out.
I don't know. How do you know all that happens there?
Hey, it's the law. You can look it up on Vegas. It's decriminalized.
No, it's true. I've heard of this as well.
Yeah. It's not no secret, but we're not going to talk about the jurors. Whatever you want to talk about, Nick, we can talk about them.
No, you called me. What do you want to say about the jurors? Something else you want to say here? When a crime happens, I'm thinking this is a predecessor to what's going on with Trump, how they trying to gag him. They don't want him to talk about it because then public opinion is swayed. But they're going to show you that who cares about public opinion no more because these jurors are going to convict, and they know about it. It's broad news. The internet's so rampant. No jurors are never going to. He's filing an appeal because it's so big. He's thinking the jurors in his town they heard about it in every state you're trying to move it to, buddy. Mm-hmm. You're not going nowhere on that ground. Right? Isn't that so evil?
In federal court. No, because you should have said you have a problem with something besides what the jurors heard. Go with the facts in the case that matter. Like he had fentanyl in his blood. I want that.
How, is that not a pertinent fact though? Isn't that one of those facts that you're talking about the jury should have to make their decision?
That's not what he's saying. He's saying that the jury was listening to the news, and that was the problem. He ain't saying that the news wasn't reporting.
It wasn't
on
even
fentanyl.
The news.
They
For some,
been like,
it was.
The news ain't reporting on the fentanyl he took. Put the fentanyl fentanyl on the news. And then everybody be like, huh? Because they didn't know if that's y'all's claim, say that. But y'all ain't doing that.
Wait, what claim? What claim?
Oh, the
Slow
public
down.
opinion of the jurors are tainted, so I want to move the trial to another state. That has nothing to do with the fentanyl if you want to cry about the fentanyl.
But it's not even so much as just crying about the fentanyl as it is that the jury is supposed to deal with the facts, right? And we're seeing very clearly that they didn't quite care about that. It was more about emotional stuff. It was more about, well, that could have been me. Well, I don't think the Minneapolis cared or loved George Floyd, when that has nothing to do with what was going on here. Now, if you're a jury and you're being told, hey, this man died from this, and here are the experts to tell you this, and then you have, the actual autopsy, well, then then you got to make a decision as a jury. If you're a juror and you're being told, okay, well, it's actually wrong to put the knee there, and you're supposed to be making a decision on those facts, and the facts are that they actually were allowed to do that. I mean, you see what I'm saying here? No honest jury can say murder.
Hey, listen to this, though. I'm here, and we have a different officer, and he just got a mistrial in the Breonna case because the jurors was mad, and there was people that feeling like that he shouldn't go to jail. But they was like, it was so heated that they're going to retry it. But every time they went through trial, they got more evidence. But this officer that shot through and said he seen a silhouette came back and said he never seen no silhouette. He was just shooting through.
Oh, I didn't press anything. Frederick, he may have hung up by accident. I didn't press nothing. What 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎? What happened? Now, he was going into Breonna. It's like, what fact about Breonna's case is going to change anything about what I said? Anything at all. The people are immoral. The people called a murder where it wasn't. I mean, how does that change it? Breonna, I don't even know that much. I've kind of forgotten now. I used to know a little bit more. Used to have the rundown on Breonna, but it's another case, another black shooting, and it wasn't allowed, and mess. But what single fact is going to change anything I said here? You know what I mean? I mean, he can call back. He can call back, but I didn't hang up on him. Anyways. IDF got him. What's up, Gains for Rec? Thank you. Life is a dice game. Chauvin just got poor odds that morning. Could have been called out to anything that day and instead gets called out to that nonsense situation. Yeah. Yeah. And it's one of those cases, and this whole this whole report out of Hennepin County that I was talking about earlier where this Sweeney, I forget her name, Sweezy. Yeah, Amy Sweezy Tamburino, her lawsuit against the Hennepin County Prosecutor's Office. It's in that same report that I believe the coroner or someone doing the autopsy was talking to her in a sworn statement. And he says, he was quoted as saying that this case, the George Floyd case, is one of those career-ending cases. His reasoning was that all this pressure to convict and all this pressure from their higher-ups it leads to wrong actions, which invariably end the careers of some of these people who have to play ball. This same Amy Sweezy decided not to play ball. Now, you look into the details of the case. I know it's about sexual discrimination, but it really has to do with not playing ball with the higher-ups, with the Floyd case. Got to play ball. The narrative. You got these people rioting. This is what we're going to do. We're going to lie about it. We're going to lie about it, and that's just what we're going to do, Amy. Well, no, I don't want to lie. Well, then you're fired. Amazing. Savages. Savages. Absolute savages. Three times the lethal dose of Fenty in George's body. He was caught on film eating it all, and he was already saying he can't breathe before they took him to the ground. All facts. All facts. All facts. Nick, I don't get it. Should we feel bad for the drug addicts, the criminals, and the low IQ? No. Wait a second. Am I saying that? No, I'm not saying that. No, don't feel bad for them. It's not about feeling bad. Don't be sorry, Space Cadet. I'm just reading my chat here, folks, before we move on here. I want to get into Elon and the world hates you. The world hates us. Okay? The establishment hates us. Oh, you want a nice home? Oh, okay. You just want to speak freely and not be told what you can and can't say, and then the people who say that to you are able to say anything they want to you and about you and to your children and teach them whatever they want. Oh, you want freedom? That's cute. That's cute. Well, Elon wants some of what I said, and they hate him, and they only hate him because he's in the way to get to us. Kind of like Trump. Okay, I do want to get into Elon here in a moment. What else? I don't want to miss anything here. Savages, absolute savages. Make sure I didn't miss any super chats. Thank you for the support. Rumble, DLiveX.com, and YouTube. Okay, so you may have heard about this a little bit. They hate you. It's been a big fight, basically, about free speech for these past few years, okay? You know, going back to George Floyd even. Going back to Black Lives Matter. Going even further. They called it shadow banning. Remember when we were shadow banned? Remember shadow banning? They called it shadow banning years ago. When I first started paying attention to Trump and all that, 2016, they said they were shadow banning conservatives. That they were posting on the social medias, but their reach was severely hamstrung by the people who own these social media platforms. And they're workers, they're liberal workers, big tech-minded, communist-type people would see the landscape of social media, especially in the Trump years, and like I said, hamstring reach, all the way to outright banning. I remember when banning on a social media platform was more of a headline, in fact. It used to be a headline. So-and-so, I mean, it still kind of is, but it used to be a bigger headline in that it was so rare. Remember when they banned Trump? They banned Trump, a president, a sitting president. They took my Twitter. They took his Twitter, back when it was Twitter, and they silenced a president on the internet. Not really silenced him. You can't silence a man. But many of you are well aware of this debate that has happened over the years. Well, are they allowed to do that? Are the social media companies allowed to just target conservatives? Are social media platforms, do they constitute the public square? And as such, your social media companies are required to follow free speech guidelines here, laws and all that? Or are they publishers and allowed to pick and choose, etc.? It's been a fight, especially since Trump, because of all the banning, the canceling. Then they started the canceling. Then the cancelings came, and where were you? And then they canceled me, and you said nothing. I feel like that I'm referring to something, like some kind of campaign, some kind of stop hatred campaign. So then the cancelings came, right? It was Alex Jones earlier on, one of the first dominoes, if you will. But all the way to Trump, remember? They banned his account. They banned him on Facebook. He had to make Truth Social his own thing. It's been a saga, many years. People in Congress taking the fight there. They called it. What do they call it? I forget what term they used. But it was about censorship and free speech. And they had hearings. That amounted to nothing. At least a lot of us felt that way. Hey, Facebook, you can't do that. That's not very freedom of you. But, it's just all talk. Anyways, Elon Musk, you know him. He's the newest owner of X.com. Used to be Twitter. And he, too, has been facing all this onslaught from the media, multiple fronts, the media, company stuff. And the man has been, in my estimation, attacked by the media for a long time, even when he was just a Tesla guy. The Tesla guy, the SpaceX guy. Well, Elon Musk, the latest on him is basically this lawsuit he's filing against Media Matters. Media Matters, early Saturday morning, Elon Musk posted that his social media platform X will be filing a thermonuclear lawsuit against the left-leaning nonprofit Media Matters and all those who colluded for completely misrepresenting the real user experience on X. And this speaks to what's been going on, okay? Because ever since Elon Musk bought X.com, the media, the ADL, different groups have basically started an all-out war against the man. Media campaigns trying to slander him. Even the White House has come out to admonish Elon Musk here. And this lawsuit against Media Matters is significant because it follows this very same saga. Will the American public be free, be allowed to speak freely in the public square, as the First Amendment says? There's been alternative platforms that have come about since this whole saga. Rumble.com, I'm streaming on one of them. But even on those platforms, we've had now we get to look back with retrospect. We now are privy to this vantage point that we didn't see back then, but it's now become clear that groups like the ADL have been close with these companies, YouTube for sure, Twitter, but even Rumble with their demands, their list of demands. Ban this person. This person's not allowed to say that. And what was most amazing of that whole saga was the revelation of just how much sway groups like the ADL had. You saw that campaign on Twitter. X.com, if you remember, hashtag ban the ADL. Very interesting. Kind of a revelation moment there, somewhat. And so this, like I said, is a continuation of that saga. The lawsuit just filed in the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Texas alleges the organization's tactics were manipulative and deceptive. The suit claims Media Matters has opted for new tactics in its campaign to drive advertisers from X. Yes, remember this? X.com, one of the ways that it keeps afloat is advertiser money. This is a common tactic with the enemy. The ADL and groups like that, even Democrats, politicians, people who use words, the ism words. You're a racist, you're racism. It's a way of shutting down conversation. But how do you shut down a company or a platform that you've deemed racist? Okay, well, onslaught with the bigoted language. You get the media campaigns, the onslaught from the public, trying to sway public opinion. You are now tried by a jury of your retarded peers. And then what do? They drive the advertisers. They scare the advertisers off. Classic move. Media Matters employs this very same technique. And it's in this lawsuit that Elon Musk is saying that this was malicious. that they manufactured inorganic and extraordinarily rare claims to manufacture this false impression that amounted to money lost. Hey, we're talking about money here, Media Matters. Don't play with my money. Don't play with Elon Musk's money. Media Matters executed this plot in multiple steps, according to this. Media Matters access accounts that have been active for 30 days, bypassing X's ad filter, and various other things here. And why is this significant? Because the whole establishment turned on him, just like Trump. That should be, for the layman's and ignorant people, I'm one of them. That should be one of those what do they call it? Bellwether? We're going to talk about elections here in a moment. It's one of those bellwether metrics that kind of is a litmus test to test the waters here. That's not very freedom. Is that very freedom or not? It's one of those metrics. Did the establishment turn? Yes. Did the media turn on him? Yes. And for what? Because he wants to make X.com a place of free speech. Okay. Things become a little bit clear. The regime, the establishment has come out in full force against him. We're talking about the White House condemning his abhorrent anti-Semitic tweets. For what? You remember I talked about it, I think it was yesterday, and I mentioned it when it happened. They're calling him an anti-Semite. This is the latest, right? The latest attack on Elon is this anti-Semitism, which, about what, though? Essentially, he agreed with a tweet that said that Jewish people want out of the rest of America and white people, I'm paraphrasing, that they want support from all these people after basically pushing the same hatred that they've been pushing on whites. Where were you? And for that, he's been called an anti-Semite. You have said actual truth, wrote Elon Musk. And he was even measured. He's very clear. There was someone who responded to the whole thing saying, yeah, but it's not fair or truthful to say that Jewish communities promote this stuff. Say what you want about the ADL, but don't generalize the Jewish community. Elon Musk replied, it says, you're right. This does not extend to all Jewish communities. Not all, but most. But it's also not just limited to the ADL, he says. He's being very clear. Can we talk about it? Can we at least talk about it? That's what Elon Musk is trying to do. Can we talk about it? But no, the regime is going hardcore against him with headlines like this. You go on CNN. You'll be hit with, of course, these stupid headlines. Trump and his case, which there's some good developments there. This gag order Frederick was talking about earlier. Looks like they won't be able to hold it over Trump any longer. But you go on CNN and you get Israel Hamas hostage, Donald Trump, and what else you get here? You get Elon Musk turned this college student's life upside down. The story of Ben Brody. They say, and it's this guy's lawsuit on Elon Musk. Ben Brody, far-right conspiracy theorist, accused a 22-year-old Jewish man of being a neo-Nazi, and then Elon Musk got involved. And you read this headline and you think, wow, Elon. I mean, if any of that headline is true, I don't know. I have some deep reservations about this Elon fella. I don't know about you, but if any of this headline is right, I don't know. I got some questions about this Elon fella. But if you read the article, what this amounts to is that this guy, this Ben Brody, says his life was going fine. He had just finished college, was prepping for law school. Apparently, it was around this time that there was a gay pride event being held in in Portland, Oregon. Ben Brody was in California, nowhere near this gay pride event in Portland, Oregon, June 24th, 2023. It was at this event that counter-protesters arrived. The media called them far-right groups and neo-Nazis, drawing a parallel to that Charlottesville flashpoint that ended in a violent clash. And it is the death. Democrats and evil white haters haven't stopped talking about it since. Apparently, there was an individual at this Portland, Oregon gay pride event who was unmasked. This unmasked individual bore a resemblance to this Ben Brody in this article. And basically, the way it turns out is people online, basically people online saw this guy and they were like, this guy's a Fed, because they found his social medias. They found out he was Jewish. Let me be clear here. The person that was unmasked at this event was then wrongly, the identity of which was wrongly attributed to this Ben Brody. So when people online found Ben Brody's social media, who they thought was this person at this gay pride event, they found out he was Jewish and that he expressed wanting to work for the government. And so, I remember, the unmasked person was supposedly with the neo-Nazis. And so he started getting a flood of messages, people calling him a Fed. This guy's a Fed. Wait a second, he's a Jewish guy and he wants to work for the government, but pretending to be a neo-Nazi? Fed. You could see the online people spiraling now. Fed. I like the Fed calls. You know, we got a lot of Feds out here. If you get angry, you're a Fed. You're a controlled opposition. If you could be cajoled into acting crazy and looting and rioting whether at the January 6th or out in the streets, you're a Fed. I know it may be a loose definition of Fed. I admit it. I admit it. And apparently they went after him. They went after him. He's saying he had to move from his home out of fear of being killed or something like that. I mean, it's very dramatic. I mean, I don't know if they actually ever went to his home or anything, but it's all this drama. But here's the point. Because this 22-year-old guy, whatever, who cares? The point is, his story is headline news. His story is the big news on CNN. Who's his lawyer? His lawyer is the same lawyer as the man who took down Alex Jones, they say, Bankston. The guy who took down Alex Jones' last name is Bankston? Moneywad Bankstenstein is best known, I made that name up, his last name is Bankston, best known as the lawyer who successfully took on the conspiracy theorist, CNN says, Alex Jones, in court on behalf of parents who lost their children in the 2012 Sandy Hook school shooting. Dang, CNN, when you write it like that, you make it sound like Alex Jones killed these people, which is just not true. Alex Jones in court on behalf of the parents who lost their children. This is why this is significant. It's headline news. They got the man who took down Alex Jones. They're making it this huge thing because this is just another arm of the multi-armed attack on Elon for what? Essentially what? For daring to allow people to speak freely. The people hate the children of the lie, the government, these people, they hate us. They hate us. They see us online asking questions, noticing patterns, and asking questions about those patterns, and sometimes being totally wrong about those things, and sometimes being right. And they see that and they say, no, that can't happen. Nope. Shut it down. That can't happen. They can't think for themselves. Nope. Stop it right now. They hate us. So, right on, Elon Musk. Wishing you well. Keep it up on x.com. But let's take it all the way. They're going after Rumble. I heard. For having people like Nick Fuentes on. I don't care what you think about that guy. But it's not free speech till it's everybody. Till you're allowed to be wrong. Okay? I'm not trying to be anti-Semitic, Hake. I'm not even referring to that. He says in the chat, multi-armed attack? You mean tentacles, Greta Thunberg? Like, they said It was Greta Thunberg recently. There was a photo where she was pictured with an octopus, and apparently the octopus is an anti-Semitic dog whistle. Amazing. Incredible stuff. Anyways, anything else about this? Elon Musk, he dared to make the public square, you know, a little bit freer. Nick could pass as a lot, just about everything except black. He could pass as Italian, white, Arab, Jew, Mexican. Yeah, that's true. In fact, if you remember, early on when I started working for Jesse, and I was the anchor baby on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, I mean, I was his producer, if you remember. I'm sure many of you remember. We don't have that same kind of pain with Sean, do we? It's much on the shoulders of, not giants, but it's just everything gets better. Every producer's better. We don't have that same kind of pain, but if you remember when I was on the show, you know, they would say about Joel, he black. And a little side meme they carved out for me. It was not really said anymore. He ambiguous, if you remember that. He ambiguous. He black. He ambiguous. Nick is all the races. Nick can pass as Russian. Yeah, exactly. Picture of Greta Thunberg's original post and pic. Oh, yeah, thank you. They were saying this is anti-Semitic. This octopus is apparently anti-Semitic memes and conspiracy. I don't know. She was all standing with Gaza, standing with Palestine. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're standing with. Climate justice now, Palestinian flags. These are actual stupid people. Like stupid as, like ignorant and dumb. You know what I mean? Like the truest sense of that word. Like just as dumb. Okay, how do I get rid of this? Amazing. Anyways, folks. Let's move on here because I got one more thing for y'all. Nick could pass as Latino too. Nick looks like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. What are you talking about? Turning Gaza into... Standing with Gaza, smoking the Zaza. Turning Gaza into Zaza. You heard? Great commentary. All right, folks, I got one more thing for you here. What else? Ooh, election shenanigans spiciness. You hear about this one? I'm still reading your chats here. Funny stuff. Octopus is in the chat. We're getting octopi in the chat. Anti-Semitism activated in the chat. You guys are going to get me flagged for anti-Semitism. You're going to get me in the SPLC article. You're going to get an FADL article about me. This American anchor baby, as he calls himself, uses a racist, bigoted term like anchor baby, is a race traitor and house Negro, as they. This is the ADL writing about me. A American anchor baby, host of a show, basically a house Negro, as they say, has an anti-Semitic chat that commonly spams octopus emojis. Birdie Bound Brian coming in strong with the super chat. It looks like it's back to back. I don't know if you meant to do that. Can I refund one of these? I don't know if you meant to send two. It looks like you sent two. I'm refreshing my screen. Okay, maybe you only sent one. Birdie Bound Brian coming in strong with a super chat. Thank you, sir. Says, headlines equals head lies. Dang. Sure, would suck to be convicted for standing in what is true. Lord, please give white men the strength to stand up. Court isn't even court anymore. It's Satan's hell room. Well said, Birdie Bound Brian. Thank you for the super chat and the support. It doesn't look like it was sent twice, but let me know if they did charge you twice. I'll see what I can do about our refund. Incredible. Squid Towers is the new thing. Squid's in the chat. All right. We got election mess. Check this out. They're saying, look, we got some interesting developments here, okay? That's not me saying this. Okay, let me find it here. Because like I was talking about, the public square, bannings, and all sorts of things. One of these topics is the election. How dare you ask a single question about the 2020 election? And far be it from me to do such a horrible thing, right?
Consent decree.
Fairest and most freest election. But there are others who have questions. And I'm just reporting the news here. I'm reporting what they're saying here. One of them is Donald J. Trump, responding to some news here. Breaking, Fulton County, Atlanta, acknowledges 3,600 ballots from 2020 election audit were duplicated. Is this true? DC Drano reports this. DC Drano reporting this on Twitter, on X.com. Is this true? The media is saying otherwise. They're fact-checking this. What are they fact-checking, though? They're fact-checking this video. Let me show you.
A lot of crime.
Donald Trump. Okay. The text here reads, this is very interesting. Fulton County, Georgia acknowledges in a major consent decree that 3,600 individual ballots were duplicated. Sounds pretty bad, no? Let's watch this and see what the media is saying about it. They're talking about the election. Shenanigans.
Very interesting. Fulton County, Georgia. Very interesting. Fulton County, Georgia acknowledges in a major consent decree that 3,600 individual ballots were duplicated. 36 batches of them were duplicated. That's a lot of crime. 3,600 votes. That's really a lot of crime. When are the rest of these facts coming out? We're all waiting. This is the beginning of an unbelievable period of time. This is massive voter corruption. Very interesting.
Wow. Okay. Amazing. Hold on. Duplicated. Massive. Okay. We're going to find this out here in a second here. Just give me a second. I'm trying to pull it up. I'm getting lost. I wanted to see if the media responded to this, but it looks like they were dealing with an old claim. But Jack Posobiec on Twitter, on X.com, says, breaking, a federal judge appointed by... Oh, wait. I'll get into that. One second. So that was Trump. Fulton County, 3,600 ballots, apparently. And I have it right here. They're saying it's his latest spin. They're calling it Trump's latest election spin. In his latest election fraud spin, according to factcheck.org, Trump falsely suggested that 3,600 criminally duplicated ballots were counted in Atlanta's Fulton County in the 2020 election. He is referring to news reported months ago about errors made during an audit, not during the official ballot count. Oh, okay. State investigators found there were double-counted and miscounted votes during an audit in the county to confirm the 2020 election results. But the audit was never part of the certified tally. So, that is different, right? But the audit is the whole thing with the audit is, the point was to, well, let's find out. Let's verify these claims. They say they're conspiratorial. These are a bunch of conspiracy theorists. Trump is a conspiracy theorist and pushing violence and J6 and blah, blah, blah. But the point of the whole thing was, well, let's get to the bottom of it. Why not? Why not? You're saying it's free and fair. Let's prove it. Because a bunch of people don't agree. And that should be enough to make things clear. an election that happened that took, remember, it took days to count and all that. Argentina just had an election. They could do it overnight. They were able to count all the ballots, no problem. Argentina just did it. Why isn't the most advanced country, the most equal and fair and advanced and transparent country in the world doing it, huh? So that whole thing continues, and I know a lot of people have admonished Trump for this, for sticking to his guns on that. They're saying it's a losing issue, kind of like abortion and all that. It rubs people the wrong way. You're going to lose voters. You're going to just push people away from the tent, from the conservative Republican tent. It's all ridiculous, to be honest, because the man believes in what he believes in. Can you just let him fight for what he believes in? Breaking, federal judge appointed by Obama ruled against voting machines in Georgia. Okay, what's this? This is from Newsweek. Okay. U.S. District Judge Amy Totenberg issued a 135-page ruling last Friday in the long-running lawsuit seeking to rid Georgia of its electronic voting machines in favor of hand-marked paper ballots. You know that's the standard in a lot of places? Hand-marked paper ballots. It was in Canada, if I remember. The lawsuit filed by individual voters and election security advocacy group, the Coalition for Good Governance, argues that the machine's cybersecurity flaws violate the constitutional rights of voters to cast their votes and have those votes accurately counted. In a footnote of the ruling, Totenberg said that the evidence in the case does not suggest that the plaintiffs are conspiracy theorists of any variety. Indeed, she's quoted, some of the nation's leading cybersecurity experts and computer scientists have provided testimony and affidavits on behalf of plaintiff's case in the long course of this litigation. Amazing. Mike Lindell cheers judge's historic ruling as vindication, apparently. Newsweek, amazing. So yeah, like I said, that's the news there. Ruling on Georgia's voting machines as vindication, amazing. Georgia's electronic voting system, purchased from Dominion Voting Systems, I'm reading this from Newsweek, implemented statewide in 2020, has been subject to various conspiracy theories. In her order, I'm sorry, hold on. So yeah, amazing. Federal judge ruled against voting machines. The machine's cybersecurity flaws violate the constitutional rights of the lawyers. Incredible there. In a footnote of the order, the judge ruled that the evidence in the case does not suggest the plaintiffs are conspiracy theorists. Yeah, they're just asking questions. We're seeing something weird here. Amazing. Get your MyPillow with code ANCHORBABY for 50% off. I wish. Mike Lindell. Sponsor me, Mike Lindell. Oh, wow, and Elon Musk even. I didn't even see this. I mean, I'm reading this post here from 𝒔𝒊𝒂𝒎 on this very topic I'm describing. There's Mike Lindell. Elon Musk, there's Elon Musk. Someone's about to call him anti-Semitic. The media's about to go after him on this one too. He's saying, wow. A simple little wow. But isn't that such a wow, huh, Elon Musk? Isn't that a real big wow? It's a big wow. Will the American public be free? I mean, it's just, it should be enough that enough people don't believe it. It should be enough for a full investigation, audit the whole thing and figure it out, make sure that it's all in the up and up. Why not? I think I know why. And this is my suspicion and pure conjecture and opinion. I don't really know. But I suspect that elections haven't been on the up and up for a long time. Well before 2020. Amazing. We got to pull up on my... No pulling up on Mike Lindell. I didn't hate the MyPillow, but you get what you pay for. Is it not good? Anybody have MyPillows? MyPillow owners in the chat. Any MyPillow owners in the chat? Doesn't he source all his cotton from Gaza? Does he? Where does he get his cotton from? He gets his cotton from that one place over somewhere. I swear he gets all his cotton from Gaza. I could be wrong here. Mike Lindell. I swear, MyPillow. They get their. You ever seen the commercials? I swear they get their cotton from somewhere, and it's like I get the cotton source. You know, Mike Lindell, he was a crack addict, according to him. He turned it all around. I want Gaza cotton MyPillows. I swear the commercial says something about Giza, not Gaza, Egypt. You're right, Steve Strzok. He doesn't source his cotton from Gaza. My bad, Mike Lindell.
Well, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm excited to bring you my Giza Dream
Giza,
the best offer ever.
My bad, Mike Lindell.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm excited to bring you my Giza Dream bed sheets for the best offer ever. We're all experiencing rising prices, but I was able to secure a limited amount of Giza cotton for.
I was able to secure a limited amount of Giza cotton and secure the elections for the American public. Go to mypillow.com. All right. Right on, folks. This is why we shouldn't put Nick on daily 11-hour shifts. The Gaza theory. Okay, moving on. Nice. MyPillows for all first-class Nick Stream supporters. Right on, Nick. Steve Strzok, you're so right. You get a MyPillow. Anti-Semitic Mike Lindell. Everybody gets a MyPillow. Everybody gets a MyPillow when you're flying first class on Anchor Baby Airlines every Friday. Don't miss it, 4 p.m. around there. Make sure you hit that notification bell. You don't want to miss the flight. It's a lot of fun. And we might have some crazies sometimes. We might have some Sky Kings. Okay, maybe some Sky Kings. Okay, maybe some Sky Queens. Maybe some crawling over the seats savages at times, but it's always fun. And we've definitely landed that plane more often than not, huh? We got a pretty good track record on Anchor Baby Airlines as of late. How many days since their last accident? No, nobody talk about the times I have to dive bomb the plane so that I can get to the correct altitude. I know the G-forces are probably more than that may have killed any infants on board, if there were any. But, you know, sometimes you got to dive bomb. Sometimes you got to push the yoke forward and just pray. What a mess. Elections. Patriot Party freakout, you know, talking about this. Talking about the parties here, Republicans and all that. Ronna McDaniel, you know her. Emerging Patriot Party leads to Ronna McDaniel freakout. Anybody know about this? Shout out Arizona. Anybody Arizona? The Patriot Party. Is this real? Is this happening or what? MAGA Patriot Party filed paperwork to become an official party. Basically, they're going to split the vote. At least it's the fear of the GOP. The Patriot Party. Basically, there's a party, a political party who doesn't want to go with the left-right paradigm here doesn't want to go along with Republican Democrat. They want some more options. Now, I don't know too much about the Patriot Party, but they apparently failed to qualify for the Arizona ballot. We will always probably caucus with the Republicans, but we will not be hamstrung by the Republican Party rules. I'm reading an article here out of Headline USA about this situation. Ronna McDaniel, she is the chair of the Republican National Committee. Leading the way, according to Headline USA, she received a major scare as the state of Arizona may verify the Patriot Party. Now, Ronna McDaniel and the establishment conservatives and the Republicans are saying that the Patriot Party submitted faulty signatures. They need a certain number of signatures to legitimately partake in the 2024 elections. The RNC is accusing the Secretary of State of conspiring in secret to facilitate this verification process. Now, I don't know the details here. I don't know who's lying and who's not, but it's clear Ronna McDaniel does not want this Patriot Party. They made it clear because basically the fear is that they'll split the conservative vote and basically allow a Democrat to win. McDaniel said about this Secretary of State that to allow this Patriot Party would be a drastic failure to uphold the standards of his office. Ronna McDaniel. Yep, Ronna McDaniel. She threatened to sue the Secretary of State if he does not stop the Patriot Party from becoming a serious player. So she's even going to sue. And so they're this third option, if you will, an option that most people don't have. It's either a Republican or a Democrat. And you know what? I think this is great. I don't know too much about the Patriot Party. I don't know if it's like losers or if it's like weirdos. I just don't know. I don't want to badmouth them. They call themselves patriots. Hey, pretty nice. And if they're anything about what they think they are, then they're just simply a third option against this Republican Democrat paradigm that we have to go along with, which doesn't seem to be fixing things. And now I understand they got these firebrand conservatives who are even more pro-Trump than usual, like Kari Lake. They say Kari Lake's great. I don't know much about her either. They say she's great and standing up for Trump, and I think from what I've seen, she is. Right? And they say she's great. And so, no, don't split the vote. Don't split the vote. We got Kari Lake. We got good things happening. Sometimes you got to play ball, right? Sometimes you got to play ball. So play ball with Ronna McDaniel and the RNC so we can win an election. And that's just not going to cut it. That's just not going to cut it. Like with Trump telling him, hey, you got to give it up. That's 2020 stuff. Give it up. You know what we're talking about. We got to win elections. That's not an electable thing. It's no more of that. It's over. No more of being electable. Okay, Trump should have already solidified this lesson for us. And we only have, it seems like we may only have a small window to make it happen. Because then the older generations are gone, and then the brainwashed generations come in. Look, what I'm trying to say here is Trump already showed us this lesson. The public are hungry for the truth. The truth excites them. And when a man got on stage and we're saying all the things that were not electable, you can't say that, he became president. He became president of the country. So, no more. I don't care about Kari Lake. Oh, we got to get Kari Lake. I don't care about that. Let them all lose. Let all the Arizona Republicans lose and let them be divided. Let the whole thing be divided because they're evil. And this is how the Republican kind of establishment keeps you going. They'll point at someone like Kari Lake. And again, I don't have a problem with her. But it's like, well, see, she's good. Well, I guess you're right. I guess we gotta get Kari in. We gotta work things out. We'll get him next time. And it's the same thing over and over again. It's a Faustian bargain. The Republicans don't love you. They don't love American. They don't want what you want. The patriots, the actual patriots and Christians. And so, understanding that, moving forward, all it means is we subdue the Republicans and make them work for us, okay? And we've seen a little bit of that, so don't lose what's the word here? Faith or whatever, motivation. We saw Trump make it happen. He made those Republicans work. And just like that, we can do it as well. And start turning around this female influence, huh? Where's Carrie Lake's husband, says Space Cadet. So she's married, huh? Carrie Lake's married. Does she have children? Google says, who is Carrie Lake's first husband? I don't want to call him first husband. That doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem right. Spouse. Okay, but does she have kids? Children. Does she have children? Does Carrie Lake have children? The American politician's family consists of her husband and their 2 children, Ruby and Leo. Ruby and Leo. Yeah, I don't know. I think ladies in this type of work, generally I'd say stay out of it. Just generally speaking, 9 times out of 10, you're probably in the wrong place, women in these positions. But some of the ones who are going to be in there, pick a lane. Make a decision. Because you're a woman. You're a woman. You don't have the destiny that God set out for men, which is to work and subdue the earth, and their wives will be at home dealing with the home and all that and the children. Making that situation possible. You're a woman, Carrie Lake. You're Candace Owens and others who are doing pretty good work, in my opinion, I think. It's like, okay, fine. It's already bad enough. We got the upside down order, but you know what? Firebrand conservatives, you want to do some good work here? Pick a lane. And don't sacrifice children. All the girls Nick likes already got kids. Tough break. I know, Carver. What a mess. Carver with the conspiracy theories in the chat. Yeah, right. Alex Watts, that's a good point. They're too prone to be swayed. But for the ones that are there and and some of us in our estimation, we believe they're doing good work, it'd be nice if they just chose one, right? Because you got to choose. You can't have it both ways. One's going to suffer, and it's always the children. It's always the kids who take on the sacrifice. Thank you, Ohio Sentinel over there on Rumble. Appreciate that. Amazing. Is that a super chat from Carver? Thank you from earlier. I missed it. Carver says, T-shirt sales protect from angry advertisers. Hint. Thank you, Carver, for the hint. I got to get on that. Nick will have to settle down with Greta. Both love octopuses. At least she's younger. Wait. Hold on, YouTube. Don't get mad at me. She's 20 years old. Okay. I don't know. I thought she was a child. I forgot she was 20 years old. Greta. The autistic child. I think she'll be an autistic child forever. Until she overcomes her parents. Nick, women don't realize how miserable working like a man is. It doesn't have to be miserable. Women won't know the joys of leveling up. It's fun. Working on yourself. No, that's not true. Women can understand that too. But in general, kind of a general statement. Hey, any men know what I'm talking about here? when you get in a stride, it's fun to level up. Work on yourself, work on your life. Stack stuff. Stack the things you like, stack the things you care about. It's fun. And work is work. Work will always be work. It's the curse of God. God cursed man in that way. But it's fun. It's fun to work. I think. For some people it is. And if it's not fun to work, keep working and don't trip. It'll become fun. It's just that you weren't raised right. You didn't get the discipline growing up. Instead, you got parents telling you, you got to do this, and nagging. And then you got mad at the nagging. And so that got in the way of your natural progression into discipline, because life is going to come. Life is going to come and you got to do things. And you either got to do them or you're not going to do them. Right? And that will naturally develop discipline. But or you have like a mother and she's nagging you. You got to do this. You got to do that. Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? So you get mad, and that gets in the way of that natural development of discipline. With a little bit of correction, maybe from a father. And then you take that with you. You take that with you and you become like this undisciplined person. But you notice how the lack of discipline affects your life. So you try and change it. And that doesn't work. It's because you got stunted. Just let it work itself out. Just keep working. Keep toiling. And eventually you'll want to work. You'll like, no, I don't want to play games. I don't want to play. I'm telling you because this happened to me. I don't want to play video games. I don't want to. Why am I not disciplined? Why am I not disciplined? But it just developed itself naturally. Life came at me anyways. I had to do it or not. And then I went through the growing pains that I should have gone through. The growing pains of, no, I don't want to do it. Which I never got to work it out. Because I had women, and I was raised by I had women in the way. So you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do that. And I felt bad because I didn't do it. And you mix in guilt and you mix in judgment. It's a mess. It really is supposed to work itself out naturally. It's a beautiful thing. I was saying this a while ago, too, because I was wondering, where does discipline come from? Because I don't have it. And I was telling you guys, looks like, from what I could tell, folks, if you don't get discipline, if it doesn't get taught to you, you're screwed. You just don't have it. But I've come to maybe figure this one out. It turns out it happens naturally. Anyways, I was rambling. Any parents in the chat know what I'm talking about? Am I talking mess here? Maybe you disagree. You're welcome to call me, but it's going to have to be tomorrow for more American Anchor, baby. Tomorrow, Wednesday, we got a nice Wednesday show. That's Manhood Hour on the JLP show, 6 a.m. We got the Hake Report. And don't miss the American Anchor, baby, at 12. More show coming at you tomorrow. Folks, it's always a pleasure. But that's it from me. I see a call coming in, but I can't take your call. Is it Miles? Miles, thank you for calling. Call me tomorrow. And everybody else trying to call. Folks, one last goodbye, huh? Well, please, one last goodbye. Take care, folks. Bye.